My name is Justin Williams with the Legion of Los Angeles, and welcome to the World of Zwift.
Hello and welcome to this week's World of Zwift, and boy do we have an Easter treat for you, as well as some freshly baked content straight out of the What Oven here at Zwift HQ. We've got some vintage was moments for you to wash it all down with. So here's what's coming up this week. Ben Foster swaps his goalkeeping jersey for a polka dot one to take us on a Rider Recon. Matt Stevens drops in for a chat ahead of Season 3 of the ZRL. We're in Berlin with the all-conquering Canyon Esports team. We quite literally regurgitate the best and worst of the feed zone, plus a chance to brush up on our A-Zwift. But before that, it's time for me to ask you to like and to subscribe again. To those of you that have already done so, then thank you. To those of you who haven't, you're the reason I have to do this every week. Oh, you're keeping everyone waiting, so if you'd like to do it now, that'd be awesome. I thank you. This week in the World of Zwift, Season 3 of the ZRL kicks off with 7 new teams joining the Premier Division party. Race 1 is a team time trial around Douce, France. More on that shortly. Congratulations to Zwift Academy Road 2020 winner Neve Bradbury, who started her first race as a pro for Canyon SRAM at the Dwars door Vlaanderen. Keep watching throughout the year for more from Neve. A brand new workout of the week lands on Wednesday, and do you know what? It is another race simulation, just in time to prep those legs for Season 3 of the ZRL. It's as if we planned it this way. And finally, the Tour of Watopia continues with Stage 3, Hilly High Score. 3 routes offering double XP, including one of my favourites, the Ocean Lava Cliffside Loop, for the first time in Tour of Watopia history. And if you want a handy pocket-sized guide to that, you'll find a link to the brilliant Rider Recon below this video. With Season 3 of the ZRL upon us, we thought we'd better check out the first route of the new campaign. And leading us is the cycling goalkeeper. Ben Foster has 8 England caps to his name, but this is his maiden Rider Recon, and today's route is Douce, France. For those of you that don't parler français like moi, Douce translates to sweet, and France, well, I believe you get the idea. So, allez, Benjamin, allez!
Right, here we go, we're off ski. 24 kilometers long, 40 odd meters of elevation. I think this one is going to be a fast one. Very flat course. My kind of course. When you weigh 93 kilos, this is my kind of course. So start of the race, start of the course, we've got about 3 or 4 little lumps, and then a flat section for 4 or 5k. And then at the 10k mark, we've got the aqueduct climb, nothing major. And then after that, plain sailing on the flats. And it is going to be carnage, hell for leather. This is the first little lump of the course. 2%, 3%, nothing major. This is some lovely scenery around here. We've got churches, we've got a lovely little river alongside us, hot air balloons out in the distance, a lovely mountain to look at. Just got myself a little aero power up as well, boom. If I get one of these in my local club ride tomorrow night, it's game over. I'm saving it to that end. Saving it for the bunch sprint. Here we go. The aqueduct KOM starts at 11 kilometers in, up to 5% pretty quickly. It's basically a very, very short KOM. Teamwork's going to be the key, I think, for this course. In the team time trial, just make sure nobody gets dropped, stick together, and then at the end, survival of the fittest. Strongest man can go for it. So 13k in, you hit a few cobbles, and back on the tarmac. And it's still pan flat, absolutely pan flat. The speed is going to be crazy. So right, we've got 9k left. As long as your team can stick together, it should be a very competitive field. Just over 8 kilometers left. I've already done 116 meters of climbing, which tells me I've got very, very little climbing left to do. But you kind of know. 7 minutes, 8 minutes time, you're gonna have to put some serious power down and get over that line. Right, 20k done, we've got 4 kilometers left. Right, nice little pave section again over the bridge. We've got 2k left now. I'm nervous, I love it. Because I know I've got a sprint in me. Right, 1k left, down to the last kilometre. We've got a marina sprint coming up. I can see where this sprint starts, I'm giving it a go, you know. Here we go, I can see it. I can see it. Come on then, here we go. Oh yeah. I've earned myself a burger and a pint of beer for that.
Regular viewers of the World of Zwift will be familiar with the feed zone, where I test out your weird and wonderful suggestions of how to fuel yourself in a Zwifting session. Now, it started innocently enough with a birthday cake flavoured energy gel, but somehow turned into this. That rice pudding tastes like somebody has digested it first. Here are the highs, more accurately, here are the lows of the feed zone so far. The trick to this is to go big on the beans. Got a whole load of beans on there. Here we go. What flavour was it? Strawberry milkshake. Well, that is an offence to strawberry milkshakes on this planet. There's so much energy in that and so much sugar. Just to burn off that sugar high, my God, I can feel my eyes pulsating. Blah! Just in case you don't have hot water with you, what is it like just eating a sachet? Don't do it! Don't do it! Oh my God, I need water. I seriously will. Oh, it's like being on a beach where everyone hates you. Oh! So let's give it a go. Oh! I'm eating this via my sinuses. Oh! Wow. Oh, I've got heartburn. Oh! I'm going to be honest, it's not terrible, but having been a student, I'm used to eating disgusting things. In fact, I don't mind this. That's lovely. Yummy, yummy, yum, yum. That is not too bad. In fact, I'm going to drain the pouch. As it's Easter, the World of Zwift producers told me I could pick any film I wanted to see again for this episode. And so, after winning the men's seasons 1 and 2 of the ZRL, I thought it was only right and proper to revisit the film we made with Reese from Canyon Esports for your viewing pleasure.
Canyon Esports consolidate their position. Canyon Esports are looking to try and walk away with this one. A perfect day for the Canyon team. They really have dominated.
Originally I wanted to start a team back in 2017 when I first moved here to Berlin, but back then racing was in a very different state of play, and it actually took almost 2 years until I was able to form a team again. Lena was one of the first people I spoke to, and I remember him telling me, oh, I'm not sure which team I want to ride for yet, and I thought that, a little bit arrogant, but okay, and we kind of stayed in touch over the years. And then fast forward to December 2018, and he was the first person I got in touch with, and luckily for me, he hadn't picked a team still in those 2 years, so he was the first person to join the team.
It's now Vujusan.
I think what makes our team pretty unique is obviously this blend between cycling and music, and I think so far it's worked quite well because we want to do something which doesn't just try and mimic what we've already seen in cycling, and I think that's true of what Zwift is anyway. It's something completely new. And so we tried to bring this kind of fresh take to, how a cycling team should look, should act. We try to make and animate races in a way which perhaps others don't. Yeah, we try and make it exciting and add a bit of flourish where possible. And so we always have a plan going into every single race that we do. We always have a tactic, and sure, these might change. That's why we have a race radio, but I would say 95% of the time we race the way we intended to beforehand. So I think that's about looking at the course that we have coming up and really deciding what our team tactics are going to be. And if nothing's happening, then we might see Ollie Jones go attack off the front. whether that's just for TV time, whether that is to try and stretch out and make the rest of the guys in the pack suffer.
It just got real. This is Canyon doing what Canyon does.
The other thing with our team is we have always tried to make sure that it's completely even between men and women. So we've always had 6 men and 6 women in our senior squad.
This team has been so incredibly consistent.
And I think that's really important in the modern era, to make sure that everyone basically gets the same opportunities and exposure.
Wilkinson's coming through. She's got the arrow power up. Wilkinson took it down right at the last moment.
That is amazing, Kieran Lewis. You are my hero.
I just love working with guys from all different backgrounds, from all around the world, and they all bring something completely unique to the squad. And what's amazing is that somehow it all manages to gel really well.
Superb ride by Canyon Esports to round out the podium. That was breathless stuff.
I think, with the lockdown, of course, everyone had to go from riding and racing outdoors to trying to replicate that indoors. So obviously you had a lot more people coming into the sport and trying it out and getting to realize what it takes to be a good Zwift racer, or the whole dynamics around Zwift racing. And I think obviously we had events like the virtual Tour de France, as well as community races, where a lot more people were looking at this in many ways because it was the only viable option. And I think, we got a lot more eyeballs on the sport and a lot more people interested in doing it. And I think that, in a way, has helped kind of move the sport forwards.
Now, a man who is as pumped for the start of the ZRL Season 3 as I am, also who is locked in a battle of lockdown here to the death with me, is Matt Stevens. Matt Stevens, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks, OJ. Yeah, I'm pretty excited as well about Season 3 of the ZRL. Lots to talk about, and lots to talk about. Maybe we'll do another show just about my hair.
We could do. I did say we're locked in a war about it, but I feel it's a war I'm losing if we look at both our hairs at the moment, because yours has its own gravitational force. Now let's talk about the ZRL. We're 2 seasons down. We're coming into Season 3. What do you think we're going to see? Just set up the tone of it for me.
I mean, with what we've done in terms, there's still 8 races. So Season 1, Season 2, 8 races. Season 1, we saw a 50-50 split with the team time trial discipline and the points race. For Season 2, we saw the shift move in favour of the points race, and I think we struck a really nice balance. So for Season 3, we're seeing again 3 team time trials and 5 points races, but there's a little bit of a twist. Last season, we saw a bit of a thriller, didn't we? The final team time trial, but we're swapping things around a bit. So we're keeping things fresh. So the final race of Season 3 will be a points race, although it will be in Surrey again. It's the London Surrey Hills one, so that'll be quite tough. But and we've got a few new courses as well. There's a lot of familiar courses that the riders will have dialed, but there's a few funky ones as well. We've got our first ever points race around the beach island in Watopia. I'm looking forward to cobble climbs in Richmond. That is absolutely brutal. 15 climbs in total, OJ, on that race. And then we've got our first ever points race on the Champs-Elysees as well. So lots and lots to conjure with. It's going to be an exciting season.
So if you're one of these teams then, looking ahead at Season 3, how do you approach this season maybe differently to last season, knowing there's going to be more points races and it's all ending on a points race?
I think we need to look at it in 2 ways, really. First, let's look at the women's side of it, because we can't not talk about ZRL Season 3 without looking at who is going to possibly break or even start to break the dominance of Team Hino. So I think teams might look at things slightly differently, and maybe rather than have a long-term plan, although it's a team race, rather than have a long-term plan, really focus on some of the events that they know they can possibly make a difference on, rather than trying to spread their resources out all over. Obviously ride all of them, then maybe find 1 or 2 where they think they can make a difference. Because wouldn't it be lovely? I mean, from an outsider's point of view, to see Hino put under a little bit more pressure. So I think we might see teams a little bit more focused on the women's side of things. But for the men's, there's some, I mean, it was very, very close at the top. Remember, first place was actually decided by placings, not by points. I mean, we saw Canyon drawing, of course, with Saris in the pros closet, and the teams only a few places behind in the men's were really, really close. So next season from the men's, I think there's 3 or 4 teams that could be in it.
And we've got some great new riders that have signed for Movistar as well. They're coming in with Beth MacGyver for the women and Vidar Mel for the men.
Well, when you look at, I mean, I only recently found out that Movistar have made those two quite significant signings. I mean, Vidar Mel and Beth Maguire. Let's focus on Beth, of course, winner of 2 individual rounds running for Cryo RDT. That is a really astute, shrewd signing by Movistar, which is a signal of their intent. And on the men's side, they've signed one of the most aggressive, all-round, strongest riders out there, Vidar Mel, who previously rode for Callas. And of course, it's a team of primarily of Norwegians and Swedes, and that's a big pull because Vidar's been with that team for a couple of years now. So I think that just shows that Movistar will definitely try and win. I don't know whether they'll win overall, but clearly with those 2 signings, they want to make their mark, and that's going to be fascinating to see how they fit in and how they adapt as well, and how much they can learn from both Beth and Vidar.
Well, they were talking about, weren't they, that the fact that their esports team is going to have parity to an extent with their men's and women's road teams. And just talking about World Tour teams, Movistar, one of the biggest name, longest running pro team out there at the moment in the current peloton. Do you think we'll see when we get to season 4 of the ZRL? Will we see an Ineos? Will we see another team, Bike Exchange, something like that? Do you think there'll be more esports teams coming from the big names of the road world?
You made a really good point there. They're one of the biggest teams. As you said, the longest serving team. When you look back, Miguel Indurain rode for a different iteration of the current team. So they do mean business. And I think there'll be a few Pro Conti teams, a few World Tour teams looking at what Movistar are doing and thinking, I think we might do something the same. That remains to be seen, but I definitely think the tide is changing, and I definitely think maybe in a year's time, if not later this year, we'll see some other teams moving in, because as we know, esports is just getting bigger and bigger. But to have Movistar as part of ZRL Season 3, it's great for them, but it's great for the league as well. And I think we are moving in a really positive direction, and we'll see more and more World Tour teams and bigger cycling teams actually have an esports side to their build-up, and it's a really important part of their marketing strategy these days as well.
Matt, big question. Have you been signed up for Season 3?
I've got a few messages on my phone, but maybe I think it should be coming. It should be coming soon. But yes, well, I'm going to be commentating on Season 3, but possibly not riding, but we'll see.
We'll see. Matt Stevens, it's a pleasure as always.
Thanks very much, OJ. Take care, mate.
D is for drop shop. Who doesn't like shopping for a new bike? No one. Every time you ride on Zwift, you earn drops. Use this virtual currency to splash out on something new at, drumroll please, the Drop Shop. They have drool-worthy frames and wheel sets to satisfy every need. Choose from lightweight climbing machines like the Cannondale Evo, race-specific steeds like the Colnago V3 RS, or a fast mountain bike like the Trek Super Caliber to help you get dirty in the jungle. And there's always sweet bits of kit showing up, like the Tarmac SL7. All this begs a big question. Save for the dream bike or splash some digital cash on something shiny and new today? I'll leave that to you. 7 is for 7 guest worlds. Watopia is the OG Zwift world. It's available 24/7. However, there are other guest worlds and we change them out daily. Let me run them down for you. They include 3 cities that hosted the UCI World Championships: Innsbruck, Harrogate, and Richmond. London includes the surrounding country as well as the Tube. New York City's Central Park and its landmarks are there. And towering above the glass roads of a future Gotham City. Last but not least, there's the newest addition, Paris in France with sunflowers and the Champs-Élysées, and the tire tracks of the virtual Tour de France. Check out Zwift Insider for the latest guest world schedule. Maybe I'll see you there. T is for TT, time trial, testing, chrono, the race of truth, or whatever you want to call it. There's one thing for sure. There's nowhere to hide when it's just you and the clock. And if TTs are your thing, or you want to try one out, then we've got some great options for you. If you want to lay down your best time against the clock, use that Zwift Companion app on your phone and filter it by time trial. Head over to that garage and pick a time trial bike, and if you got some drops to spare, get yourself a sweet set of Aero wheels. Once you're in the pins, you'll notice things are a little different. Riders go off individually, so you'll need to wait your turn. The yellow area in front of the pins act like a start ramp and gets you up to 20 miles per hour immediately. So there's no need for those super hard sprints off the line here. After that, it's all down to you. Pick a gear, a cadence, and a power you sustain and dig in.
And that is it. We are done. We are done for this week's World of Zwift. I'm off to eat my body weight in Easter eggs before burning it off with 25 laps around the volcano. We'll see you next week. Until then, ride on.
When the best teams bring their best riders.
This is the final race of Season 2.
To the best cycling esports league in the world.
Well, this is a fantastic surge.
Anything can happen.
We've already lost about 25 riders. Ooh, it looks like Tyler Williams got that from Gledness.
Here comes Canyon, here comes Canyon. Freddie Ovid like a rocket ship on rails.
I know, absolutely sensational stuff here.
Wasn't enough to beat these monsters.
Amazing, MacGyver takes the win.
10 seconds quicker than I raced like a girl.
They have started as they finished last season. Somebody's coming round there. She came from nowhere. They are absolutely unstoppable.
Freddie Ovid making it 3 for 3. And it is Andiamo time.
That was breathless stuff.